it's Kylie Bertucci, Stamping Up Demonstrator in Australia, and I'm here with our tutorial bundle for the Flowers in Every Season suite. This is a beautiful suite, and I've tried to think of some ideas for you that will teach you a few new techniques, but also it's quite a simple card because we, despite being thinking that we're going to not be busy, we are very, very busy still. So we want something that's quick and easy, something that you can replicate quite a number of times and send to lots of friends and family to let them know you're thinking of them. So let's jump on in and I'll show you exactly what I have made here. So basically our card is this one here, and I have actually decided to use some of our amazing champagne mist paint, which you may not know about. I know a lot of people haven't really been using this to its full potential, but what I love about this card is I'm using the flowers from this fantastic set here, the Jar of Flowers. And then in that same suite, we have the gorgeous Celebrate Sunflowers. And boy, do we want to celebrate these sunflowers. They're just fantastic. And so they have some great sentiments. I'm going to use this Thanks a Bunch this time, even though last time I used Let's Celebrate You. It's just fantastic that it has such great variety there for us to use as well. And I'm sure some of the other girls are using the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set, so that'll be good. Now you're going to end up really just with one full piece and then your Whisper White cardstock. You'll have all of your measurements already on the tutorial, so you can check it out there. I'm just going to add my picture here so that I can give you my facial expressions, because I think that's part of the fun. You never know what facial expression you're going to get from Kylie when I ooh and ah. So let's bring this over. If you have one of our Stampin' Up trimmers, which if you don't, totally look at getting one of those. All you're going to do with your piece of cardstock is cut it in half. Now, if you're not cutting your cardstock in half, then you really are doing the wrong measurements in your country. So if you're having issues with measurements, please contact your demonstrator, and she will help you, because I know we have a bundle of Stampin' Up demonstrators that are women, but she will help you with your measurements. Now you can cut it in half lengthways, or you can cut it in half widthways. Usually I like, when I'm doing a portrait card, I like to have it opening this way. Oh, I've got my little measurements in there. But if you want to do it the other way, which is the more standard way to open a card, then you would just cut it in half widthways. So definitely look at that. If you haven't been cutting your cardstock in half for your card base, then please contact your demonstrator, because we don't want you wasting your cardstock. Depending on what country you're from, each country actually has different measurements. I think it's almost time for me to change my blades, which is pretty good because I've had this since the beginning and I use it a lot. So that's really good. I'm very happy with that. Now we've got the next layer, which you'll have the measurement for. And then we're going to come in and do the basic black layer with the piece that was left over. And I'm pretty sure, look at me, I'm pretty sure I know the measurements. I should just look at my piece of paper that I have here. Yes, I do. Correct, Kylie, correct. So we'll do that. And hopefully it's correct. If not, we'll just do another one. There we go. Does that look right? It's not right. I'll save that for later. I was like, do I cut this out of my video? No, you love it. You love it when I get things wrong. It's so much fun, because this is called hashtag keeping it real. This is Kylie keeping it real. See, this is why you need to see my face. So you can see me go, oh my goodness, I've cut it wrong. Kylie, wrong. You've done it wrong. Okay, I think I've got the right one now. Let's try this one. I should actually measure it next to it because I use these card templates and they help me get my measurements. Is that right? Not even that one looks right. That looks like it's too high. That looks like it's the underneath one. Yes! That's where it's all gone wrong. Okay, so I did cut the right one. My Whisper White is wrong. Good. I'm glad I'm giving you the measurements because otherwise we would be in a lot of trouble right now. So I'll just cut that down a couple of millimeters and then everything will be happy. There was nothing to look at here. Everything's fine. Okay. Yay. So, is that happy now? Yes, that is happy. Woohoo! Love it. So that's it. And that's all our cutting. So then we just get straight into stamping. Woohoo! I love it when we get into stamping. Now, we're doing some embossing today. Stampin' Up! Unfortunately have retired our little embossing buddy. I'm continually requesting that they bring it back because I love my embossing buddy. But if you don't have one of these, I've heard of different options out there that people are using. It just takes the static away from your card. And I've tried not using it and I end up with clumps of like embossing powder everywhere. So I'm not giving that up. I'm going to continue to use that because it's very helpful to me. So once we've done that, we've done the embossing buddy, then we're going to do our stamping and then we'll put our embossing powder on top of that. So what I like to do is put in the sentiment first. So I decided to do the thanks a bunch. And you could decide to do any one of these gorgeous flowers, but I'm going to stick with the same one because I have something exciting to show you today. Can you tell I use the sunflowers really well? It still works fine. It's just well used. It's been looked after. I love to see a well inked stamp because it means it's had some fun. I've had a good play with it. So I think that one might fit on that block. Do you do this? Which one measures up? Which one's not too big? I think this one should be okay diagonally. Yes, good. So I think I'll end up doing the sentiment first, just because then I can gauge where I need to put everything else on here. For some reason that's not sticking very well. If that's the case, what you can do is either spray some Stampin' Mist or even just give it a little bit of moisture. Even your block. My block's probably pretty dirty. Crazy, this chamois does actually work if you haven't got a chamois. It's really good. And that, my friends, is much better. So just a little bit of liquid. And when you first get it, it's good just to rub the resin off. So I'm just adding a few tips as I go along. I hope you don't mind. Pop some comments below, by the way, because we don't know who is actually watching our tutorial videos and we love hearing from you all. So if you can pop a comment below, that would be fun. Now you can kind of put this wherever you want. It doesn't have to be in the center, but I liked having the flowers sort of gathering around it. I really liked the look of that. So I'm going to do the same idea. Sorry, I'm stamping off the camera. Let's come back up here so you can see me stamping. We don't want to not see me stamping. I might actually do it this way. When it's a little bit of a bigger stamp, I like coming in the other direction. So you want to come up right into the writing, which you probably can't see there. I can with the lighting. If you find it's a little bit difficult to see, you can emboss it in between if you really want to check and make sure that you're getting the proper layers. And I will actually use, because I'm using polymer now, I do like to use my matte here because it just gives it a little bit of, which this is actually available. I think they took it away and then everyone went, wah! And then they brought it back again. So I don't know if it's in the catalogue or not, but it is actually available. Stampin' Pierce Matte, it's called. So I'm hopefully I'm not telling you furfies. I'm pretty confident about that one. I come up with all sorts of stories. If I'm not right, I'm really sorry. I am but a human. But I'm pretty sure that they brought it back, because I'll even check a little bit later on my store. If I was live, I'd be going, Bruno, can you check this for me? He's very handy, my husband. And another one in there. Good. And then that's looking very good down below. Not that you can see much of it, but I'm very happy with all of that. Oh, I've just noticed that there's a bit of the flower missing. So this is what happens when you don't use your Stamp and Pierce mat. So guess what, people? You get to see me stamp all over again. I'm going to turn it over. Don't you love this? You get to see all my mistakes today. And I'm keeping them in. I'm owning them. Because then you can see how I end up just, yep, all good. We'll just start from turning it over. I love using this little grid, actually. It's very handy because you can see if you're lining it up okay. And then we'll come in and do some. It's much better to see if your stamping is all happy before you're doing embossing, because that's depressing when you're like, oh no, it didn't stamp properly. And with this particular technique that I'm going to show you today, we want it to really be nice and crisp and lovely, because I think you're going to really enjoy this technique. Hopefully it gets you using your shimmer paint more, which is exciting. Ooh, yes, it's looking good, even though, sorry, you can't see anything. Hang on, maybe if I hold it up, you can see something. Oh, yes, you can see a little bit there, can't you? So, yeah, we're getting there. We've got the bottom bit done. There's just one more I want to add to the bottom here. So don't worry if you go really close to the words and then you're like, oh, but now there's like spaces down below. We'll just come in with a little leaf or something like that, because you want it to fill in that space. Fantastic. I'm very happy with that. Now I'm going to go in the opposite, like I'm not going to stay the same way. I'm going to go the other way with my flower. So see how I'm facing it. I've turned it around. Now I'm going to face it this way. You'll see what I mean when I emboss. Probably makes absolutely no sense to you right now. There we go. Ooh, that image is looking good. This is going to look so hot. Now remember that you can use any colour you like. If you wanted to even use Whisper White, it would be gorgeous with the basic black stamped like this. So you can do a lot of varieties of this card. Yeah, I really like that. All will be revealed to you soon. But yeah, just play around with different colours. Because I think, yeah, using some of the subtle colours, and then you could probably even use some sponging with it. There's so many different ideas I can see being done with this. And I'd love to see yours. If you complete this tutorial, please send us a picture. You have no idea how much that makes our day when we get a message. We even share it on our tutorial group. We're like, oh, how sweet, someone cased us, someone copied our tutorial and they shared it with us. It keeps us crafting and it keeps us creating ideas for all of you. So please share with us when you've made it. Make it a goal. So I'm going to make at least one from this tutorial bundle and share it with the person who created it. I think that's really cool. Don't overwhelm yourself and say, I'm going to do all of them. No, even if you just get one done. Now I had a little bit of extra embossing in there, so you could just come in with a brush or a dry aqua painter. Now looking at this, I think I'm okay with that having a little bit of white space down there. I think it looks really good. There's a few little blotchy bits you might just want to come in, make sure everything's evenly covered. and not flick too, like you want to flick, but you don't want to flick too much that it sort of takes off the embossing in the place that you actually want it to stay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. There's a little bit of extra there, but I don't, oh yeah, that's good. I'm happy. So let's do some heat embossing. So your heat tool, move your little powders out of the way because you don't want that getting everywhere. And your heat tool is going to melt this. So I'll lift this up in a moment to show you what it does. Hopefully you're using your heat embossing because it's a fantastic way to get high impact. Can you see that there? Wow. So hot right now. Now I've seen some people have actually gone underneath and heat embossed that way. I've never really done it like that. Oh yeah, it works okay. But some feel that it creates less sort of bowing and things like that in the paper. Or you can go in a lower level. There's actually 2 levels of your embossing tool. But I figure, I'm gluing it down. It'll be fine. it'll get repositioned. And I've never found that it's warped or anything like that, even though it has warped, but when I stick it down it just sits back into the place you want it to. So that looks fantastic. There's a couple of bits there that I'm not overly happy with, but not enough for me to go, let's do it again. So there's a couple of bits here. But, you know, that's sort of to be expected with embossing. You're going to get a few little pieces, but I still think it goes nicely with this style of card. And then there's a couple of bits here. So just make sure that your Versamark is really inky. I actually did just re-ink mine. I think it was that one. I have 2 of them. But, yeah, it's good to keep it nice and juicy. Make sure it's got plenty of the Versamark ink so you can use the refill. Now, what we're going to do now is a lot of fun because I thought this, you know, we can do this and put a few, you know, of the little embellishment things and be done with it. But I wanted to just bring in something a bit fun, which was the shimmer paint. So we have the champagne mist, but also in the catalogue, we have this beautiful frost white. Now, I haven't tried this yet, so this could go either way. But, you know, in true Kylie style, let's try it together because this is what creating's all about. Let's just have some fun. And if it doesn't work out, don't copy me. Don't do what I just did. It's not a good idea. So what I'm going to do is just pour some of the, you don't need a huge amount, but just drip a little bit of this frost white. You can always come in with more. And honestly, I have not had to replace this, and I feel like it's the never-ending frost white paint. It just keeps going. It's so amazing. You think, oh, I don't want to use it. I just want to use it sparingly because it's so precious. No, use it. Seriously. You can just buy more, and it will last forever. You'll have it for ages. So I'm using Magenta Madness Reincar. Isn't this exciting? So we'll just do 1 drop because we can always add more. I kind of want it bold though. So let's see how bold this... Ooh, check this out. It's actually very nice. The more you start sort of colouring it. So you could go even more vibrant if you wanted to. But I actually really like that colour. And then what I'm going to do, instead of the shimmer that I did here, I'm going to do it on this. Now, I don't know how this is going to look. It won't be as vibrant because it's going to dry, don't forget. But I think it will be, that's why I used magenta, and you could even make it even more vibrant because it is going to lose its colour. Like it looks amazing now, but it will sort of go to this really subtle pink colour. So don't be afraid to go bold with this if you want a good amount of colour. But I was just happy with a little tinge of pink in that flower. Just a really subtle look to it. So you can still see the magenta there. I think I will actually do this piece here as well. And don't forget that you can actually come back in again if you wanted to and layer that colour some more. That's really pretty. So you can use this in all sorts of different things, and you can see it still has that vibrant whisper white, and once it dries you can actually pick up a little bit of that colour as well. But it's a really fun technique, a fun way to just create a little bit of different colouring, particularly on the basic black, because we don't really have tools to colour in the basic black. And actually, just looking at this, it's probably a good idea if you don't go over try not to go over the white embossing. I think that gives it a much nicer look, because we may not be able to wipe that off later. I don't think it'll be like Emboss Resist where you can come back in and take off that white. I mean, it's not a big drama, but I think it just gives it more definition if you don't go over the white embossing area. Yeah, I think that looks better. See, this is the best way to test things out and play with it. Just jump on in and give it a go. So I'd love to see what colours you end up choosing if you go for a more vibrant colour and how it ends up drying. And yeah, as I said, remember that you can come in a couple of times and just layer that colour just to give it more depth. But even if it's just a really subtle pink, I think it will look really pretty. Not after a huge bang of colour. But even using this frost white, if you used it as a base, you could probably come in directly with a dark colour and go over the top, and it would create a really interesting look as well, where you're not sort of mixing it first. Yeah, see, I like this one here. See the definition, you can probably even see it here. The definition here is very different to here because I've sort of gone over the top. Once you angle it differently, you can see it better. But I think that, yeah, the look of this one down here I like more. So just play around with it and see what you prefer. But once you do this, like even though there's a little bit of technique to this and a bit of painting, you can see it comes together very quickly. You have this gorgeous card that you have hand painted. So fancy. You can say that to me. Yes, I hand painted that. You're going to say it in a posh voice though. This was a hand painted, handmade card. Do it like a really like regal, like you're royalty or something. Suddenly you've got really well-educated people speak really softly. They're not loud like me. Like, who is this uncouth woman? Go and educate her. Oh, I love this. Do you know how much I love colouring? It's so calming. I've just literally gone into my happy place. I just love colouring. So, it's like my whole nervous system has just gone, ah. Before I was doing the video, I was like, quick, I gotta do the video, quick, I gotta think. Now I'm like, what? Life is wonderful. There's no stress in my life. Everything is just easy breezy. Oh, it's so pretty. Now we'll bring in colour here too. So I think we did a good amount of, I think we're going to have extra, but it's not too bad. I thought I was going to end up with a lot extra, but yeah, it's actually a good amount. But if you do end up with a whole lot extra, you can, yeah, just quickly whip up another card and use the remaining paint there. Just sort of seeing where I want to go. Do I want to add a little bit over here? I think I'm going to leave them plain. Might just add a little bit on this one, just because I can. Wow. I really, really love the subtle look of that. So that's the difference. So that's the champagne. And with the champagne, you could totally do the same thing. Add a little bit of the magenta to it, and it probably will come up more like a rose gold paint. So you can make your own rose gold paint, which is a bit of fun. But yeah, just play around with that idea and see what you come up with. I'd love to see your designs, but I really love this. I just think that that's so pretty. So I'm just going to see what it looks like when I heat, emboss and dry it. Okay, let's have a look at this. So it still has that tinge of pink to it, but it definitely goes a lot more subtle. So you could totally, in fact, we'll just try it now. Do you like me? I'm just testing it out while we're doing the video. This is the best way to learn. So I'll give it a good 2 more drops because it really went quite subtle. So we want it to be OTT, over the top. And we'll see what this does by coming back in. And it might even create like a little bit of shade and depths once we try this. So let's just try it on that one and see how that dries. Oh yeah, it really disappears, doesn't it? But that's definitely got a lot more of the pink to it. Can you see it there? And I actually really like this idea of coming back in with the darker. So I'll show you over on this side. And not sort of colouring in the whole flower. But it's actually creating a shading. Now, maybe if you let it dry naturally too, that's going to have a different effect again. Maybe doing the heat emboss, it might pull the colour out of it, whereas that might sort of, yeah, letting it dry on its own. But I do think as it dries, it's going to naturally change the depth of colour. It's just kind of what happens with the frost paint. Very pretty though. And it's fun being able to find a way to colour on the basic black. Very pretty. It looks really out of place when you first put it on, and then it just goes, it just becomes part of the background. Oh, I really like that. Can you see that? Yeah, I can see that you can see that. Isn't that cool? So I'll just be really careful, but I want to stick it down so I can show you. But yeah, we've got plenty of colour still left there. And I do want to just try, I probably wouldn't recommend using Magenta. I am going to use Magenta now, but just try it with Stays On. Just because sometimes when you use like a water-based ink with something that's got liquid, yeah, it can create a little bit of an issue. But I just want to see what it looks like on the white. So let's have it on this. You can move over there for now. And our little grid paper behind. Don't you love the little Stampin' Up! Grid paper? It's so cute. It's for the Stamparatus, but I love using it. So let's try it on here and see if there's a difference. It's got to be pretty vibrant on the inside because I don't have the, I mean, you could add a little bit more of the white frost paint, but let's go bold. Let's see if it has a different look. I'm sure it will. So this will give you an idea of what you can do if you did a did it on Whisper White. So yeah, try not to go over that line, but just try and work within. I mean, it's a bit tricky with these smaller lines. So beautiful. What a cool way to colour in, huh? So I hope, if you haven't already, I hope that Shimmer paint has jumped on your wish list. So you've got the Frost White and the champagne, and just play around with different colours. And like you could even come in and do some with the granny apple green or something like that, and even do the leaves. It would look just spectacular because it's just got that beautiful shimmer look to it. And this is the Stampin' Up! Aqua Painters, by the way. They've got a new set of aqua painters. Oh, I love that. That's so bold and awesome. Wow. That's cool. And so if you wanted to just tone it down on the other flowers, just a little drop there. And you don't want to, like I don't want to bring in too much. I'm going to keep this pretty light. And then that can be the base of these flowers. And ooh, you can even have a little bit of a mix of colour. Let's see what that looks like when you're grabbing colour that isn't mixed. It's a little bit, maybe I need to remove all the ink. Ooh, even that. Brush your background. I'm thinking of all sorts of ideas here. Yeah, I think I had some. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's the look I was going for. So that really light, beautiful pink. That gives that little bit of contrast. Isn't that pretty? And so that's just using the same colour. We've just grabbed a little bit of ink and brought that in. So that'll be a lot of fun for you. I think you're going to really enjoy this technique, and I just can't wait to see what you end up doing with it. We'll stick all of this together, even though it's still drying. Don't do what I'm doing. Give it time to dry. So I'll just close that off. And I'll definitely, because I've got a fair bit still left here, so I'll definitely do another card with that so that I can utilise it. Let's see if it softens. Oh yeah, so it definitely softens even on the white. So you don't sort of have to be too afraid of going quite bold with this. But it has this beautiful shimmer look to it. Like, yeah, if someone sees this, it's like this really rich, sort of translucent, pearlized look that I don't think you can get from anything else. I mean, I know that we have the Wink of Stella, but this is just another level. This is like above Wink of Stella. Did I just say that? Oh my goodness. Yes, I just said that. Now, I think I just used my insert here. But that's okay. We can use that for the inside. Yes, that's going to go there. But I'll just cut another piece for the front, making sure that we don't dirty anything and that I don't put anything in the ink. I'm just telling myself because that's what I'm going to end up doing. I know myself too well. Especially when there's ink around. It's like, oh no. So refer to your measurements. This is for the front one. And I think this one is going to be, yes. Good. Now, if you wanted to, it's a good idea if you know that you're creating a layer like this that's just going to be covered, like so, then it's a good idea to maybe punch something out from the center because no one's going to know, and it's also a good way to utilize something there. I mean, up to you, but I don't do it all the time. But if you know that you're creating a card that needs another bit of layer, just be strategic about how you utilize your layers so that you're getting the most out of your cardstock as well. Beautiful. I like to use the Tombow glue as my adhesive of choice, but everyone has a different glue that they like to use. And then I'll come in with this one, again being very careful because there's a lot of wet paint around here. Best to let it dry, but I really want to show you the finished result. I want there to be completion. So pretty. So just make sure that those sections there are getting enough glue underneath. I might just put a little bit extra here because it's had a little bit of warping. There we go. Good. It's actually not, yeah, it's actually dry already. So that using the heat tool is actually very good for this. What about this one? Is this dry? Yes. Ah, amazing. I can go for my life. Freedom. It's like Kylie's not going to ruin her card. It feels like, you know, when you paint your nails and you get walking around like this. Can't touch anything. Then you suddenly realise it's dry. Ah, I can touch things again. Never realised how much I need to use my hands. Oh, that's so pretty. I really like this card. Yes, yes, yes. So, there you go. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. I'm going to hold this up and show you. So I'm very proud of this card for all of you. Isn't that cool? I hope you learnt something new. Please tell me. I don't know how many times I can ask, so you better comment below. I'm a needy person. I need comments. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support of our tutorial bundle. We love creating for you each month. And I really hope that this is going to create some ideas. I want to see your frost done with these gorgeous colours as well. Look how amazing that looks. Shiny. It's so beautiful, and I'd love to see what you come up with, whether it's on a different colour or using the Whisper White and colouring. And this gorgeous suite, I just love these flowers. So you're going to have so much fun with this suite. But thank you for being here, and we shall see you next month for another tutorial bundle. And happy crafting. Have a lot of fun. Enjoy it. Do some colouring and go into happy place. Bye everyone. See you next month.